Welcome back, crew. It's May, and we are diving into a new game of the month, the Champions 6th Edition Tabletop RPG by Hero Game Systems. I'm excited for this one. I love comic books. I love bringing superheroic tales to the table. And I've heard that Champions is one of the big players in the space, and I'm really excited to see how they bring their spin on bringing superheroic hijinks to the table. And with this being our game of the month, we're going to be giving it the full treatment. Today, we're going to our first impressions. We're going to be building a PC utilizing the Champions rule set. We're going to be going over core mechanics of the champion system, how to roll dice, how to run skills, how to fight, combat, the works. There's always something unique with the system. Something that kind of stands out. I haven't decided what yet. I need to take a little bit of a deeper dive there. But we're just going to shine a little bit of a spotlight on that champion system and how you can bring some superheroic tales with this system. But as always, one of our main goals with this channel is to get more people playing different RPGs outside of the typical D&D 5e space. And to help with that, we're going to be holding a live actual play of the Champions Hero system May 25th, which is a Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on YouTube. We're going to kind of stick with streaming on YouTube. I feel like it's been cool to connect with you all on the channel there. So stay tuned for more live streams from us there. But we're going to show through the champion system, put it through its paces, teach you how to play as we're going through. And one lucky viewer will get a chance to win a free PDF copy of the Champions Complete system so they can bring some superheroic games to their table and have some fun with it too. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited for it and looking forward to seeing how this system runs. Especially too, because we're gonna be holding our the game's premise is gonna be in the X-Men universe. Huge X-Men fan, right behind Star Wars for me. And we're gonna be putting them through their paces as mutants in a world that hates and fears them, and they still have to save the world. So looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Yeah, let's dive into the system. We'll go over some of our first impressions. For those who are new to the channel, each month we do the first impressions, which is me kind of leafing through the books, seeing what stands out and kind of what makes the system tick. So, one of the big things I'll point out here too are two things. The Champions system is kind of the Champion 6E system is a subset of the Hero 6E system. And what I mean by that is they built the Hero system and then they built the Champions book as kind of the hero system's the engine and the champion system is using that hero system to run. So that's something that can be a little bit confusing if you're going out and buying the book. I recommend if you do buy the Champions book to make sure you get the complete copy. You see, I've got that behind me. It has almost all the rules you will need to run this game. Now, I will say though, there are some rules, especially if you're going to be the game master. If you're the player, you're solid with complete. Some of the rules aren't in there. This I haven't found them yet with my first leaf through. What I found in the forums, I went to the Discord for Champions, which shout out to you guys for being so open and friendly so far. I know I have a ton more questions, but they did mention that it may be good for game masters to pick up I think it was a 6E2 book, I remember right, or for heroes, I should say, that has some guidelines for game masters and stuff for building threats and kind of bringing challenges to their players and all of that. So definitely check that out. But I just wanted to point that out there just to make sure you get the Champions Complete system. And if you're a game master, you may want to take a look at the Hero Systems generic books or overall books, I should say, and make sure to kind of see if you need anything from there. So far, I just have the Champions Complete book. I may end up picking up the Hero Systems 62 book for a little bit of extra help there, but we'll see if I can run it. I'll let you guys know in the review if I did need to buy it or if I did end up purchasing that one. But right now, we're kind of test our luck and test the dice, hopefully. So that's one of the cool pieces there. One of the big things with the hero system and champions for sure is how broad it is. One of the things I like, and one of the hard things with superheroes, and especially if you want to have a more, I don't want to say crunchy, but more mechanical superhero game like Champions, like Mutants and Masterminds, versus a more kind of cinematic route like Mask, is it's hard. It's definitely if you can't have a narrow view when you're building the powers and Champions, so far from what I've seen, nails that wide view with so many different powers and options and ways to build your own powers that you should be able to bring pretty much any heroic concept to bear. And we're going to see if we can do that during our PC build too. I haven't decided what I want to build yet, but we're going for something fun. So that's really one of the cool things with that. It's so broad, it's so vast that you're able to really, if you have a hero concept in mind, you should be able to build it. And the nice thing too for game masters and players alike is they have different tiers of where kind of what type of game you want to play. So like their standard, what they recommend people starting off with is like the super heroic setting. But in that super heroic one, they've got like low powered heroes. If you want to do kind of more of a either a young hero game or those lower powered super hijinks. They've got ones that go higher, and they even have ones too for the system because it works for heroes. But you can also use it to play like a super secret agent game or like a more mundane, talented group of people game. And they've got different kind of power sets and level sets for that too. So I thought that was kind of cool as I was flipping through to see how that would match up. For our game, I think I'm going to stick it at the standard super heroic level. I debated between that and low power because X-Men can kind of float between those two, but decided to keep it easy because a lot of the how-tos and manuals are kind of geared towards that superhero standard setting. So I thought, why make it harder for my players and myself? We'll use that one. That was kind of a cool thing there as I was flipping through. Another big thing I liked or thought was interesting with this system. We'll see how I like it as we go through. So this is a D6 system. So pretty much all your rolls will be using a D6. I've did a very high level look at how they handle their rolling. So a lot of times you're going to be rolling 3D6 and minusing it from a number, whether it be for your attack number or your skill number. We're going to take a deeper dive into this mechanics. I've only glanced at it so far. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out, see how that flows in gameplay. I've never really done a 3D6 minus before, so or actually for not, I've never really done a minus before for in my rolling. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out, how my players like it, how I like it. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that throughout the gameplay. Uh, One thing I'll say with this too, and we mentioned before, there's a ton of flexibility in the system. It could really, it's like almost like it's geared to superheroes, but using that hero system, it's definitely kind of has that same engine approach as well. It gives you the tools to be able to tell the type of story you're looking for. With that, from what I've seen, you could be able to go through and play the Avengers just as well as you could play like a James Bond game with it. So it's just kind of a really cool. I like that flexibility. I like having a single rule set that can be broadly applied without breaking it or without twisting it into things it's not meant to do. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that kind of comes through at the table. I do like some of the intro art too. I love the kind of the color there. I wish I did a little bit more color inside the book. A little bit of that was a lot of black and whites. Unfortunately, I always love what and you've watched my videos before. You know, I love seeing some great artwork. I love the cover. I do wish they had a little bit more of that comic booky feel with the color inside too. Uh, and as I talk about the book too, one thing I will say, and I didn't find it, they may have it. I do wish they had a little bit of a hardcover. But outside of that, like those are probably the only like thorns I would say from initial viewing. So far, I'm excited for what I'm seeing with the system. I'm really looking forward to applying it to the X-Men world and just kind of seeing what types of stories it can help tell. So those are just kind of my first and thoughts. Oh, one last piece I will put with that. I've talked about the flexibility of the system. Unfortunately, and I've seen this in Mutants and Masterminds too. So when you have that broad level of flexibility to build all these crazy powers, it does come with some complexity. So far, I don't know, not sure how complex it is. We need to do the mechanics and PC build videos first. But it does definitely have some complexities to it that could make life a little bit harder for someone that may not like the crunch. I love the crunch, so I'm hoping I'll love this system too. But did want to call that out that this is one that if you're not a crunch fan, it may not be your favorite system. But with that, make sure you come through for us next Saturday as we go through and build a PC using this rule set. I'm not sure if I want to build an X-Men villain, have it go up against the PC or our players in our adventure. If I want to build a kind of an NPC that can hang out with them, but definitely doing something along those lines. We're gonna go over mechanics. Depending on how long mechanics takes, we may do one video on the outside combat mechanics, and then another video in combat. And then as always, something unique for the system. And then make sure you come through for our live game May 25th, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to see this X-Men adventure roll out using the Champion 6E system. But if you're new to the Champion systems, those are the comments you'd like to see if you want to or have curiosity about what it entails. If you're experienced with Champion 60 system, shout out some of your favorite features. Shout out some cool things I should take a look at or kind of resources we should bring to bear for the party. But as always, like, subscribe. Each month we do a different game of the month. This is our 13th so far, so big, a good milestone for the channel. Definitely appreciate you all support, and the next time, folks.